Good afternoon, all. I'd like to call to order the February meeting of the Executive Committee for the Cohoes IDA. Laura Tarlow, we know, is absent today. Our two other members, Mr. Pascal and Mr. Studwire, are here. So with a quorum present, we will move to the first agenda item, which is a review of the RFP for the fire sites.
So I did forward it to everyone for review. It was a bit much to print. I think it would have been a waste. But ultimately, we did the changes. Kate reviewed my edits. I think yeah, she added a few as well. It's my opinion that we should probably remove Appendix A, which was the meeting that they had that really focused on the residential piece. Everything you talked about was.
I figured you were going to do that.
Okay,
yeah.
And I highlighted it. I just wanted to confirm with the group. So Appendix A is the piece that talked about the residential piece of discussion and what people would expect or want there. So we'll remove that. I will, unless you guys haven't reviewed it. I've already completed all the formatting, so I think it's good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So Kate, do we have to take it to the full board for approval? Then at this point, we should effort a meeting with the CLDC or the combo committee, because that does have to vote to send it out, right? Or no?
I mean, technically, you don't need a vote for an RFP
Okay.
to send it out. You would just need, you know, if you're selecting somebody, you'd vote on it.
The review of the acceptance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So I don't think they would object to you sending it out.
Okay.
Or send them a copy and say, if you have any questions, concerns, objections, speak up.
Okay.
We don't see a need for anything further, so if you're in agreement, it'll be in the mail.
Do we want to, well, we want to pick a date. We'll also want to reach out to Kevin Catalano and follow up on his offer before getting the list with 800 developers on it, not the list of the 60 we have.
Well, what I'll do is when it does come time to send this, I'll have to, because the contract reporter login that I have represents a different organization, so I can start with the IDA.
Yeah.
I'll put it out that way.
No, that's good.
But I'll also just send it to Kevin, but I will make him aware. I'll have that conversation and he can distribute it to his people.
Good. When do we want to send it?
Next week?
Yeah, how late are you, or how long are you going to leave it open?
Yeah, the dates have to all change.
The dates, yeah. So I'll do the timeline. I think the last one was what, 30 days? And also, by the way, I'm not going to keep that mandatory site visit in there.
I didn't think you would.
No, I did highlight that. I did already remove it. So I'll probably do a 30-day. I think the minimum in there was like 3 weeks. It's about 21 days. So I'll go to 30. I'll put together that timeline. I'll share it with everyone, but I'll release it next week without any objections.
Yeah, I'm fine going to like March 15th, which might be 5 weeks.
Get it in just.
I just think we're going to get a better response. I think we're comfortable. We'll at least get one this time. So with that, I'm more comfortable giving a little more time to get some good quality things in.
Yeah, that's
So I
fine.
don't know if we go 5 or 6 weeks. I know when, my life is bids, and I know our heart sinks sometimes when we get the 3-weekers and the month ones.
45 days.
Are we doing anything with Ontario?
I've started to review that. So while closing out this one, we're good with that, 45 days.
Yeah.
And
Good.
what's the format for review? We're giving a deadline, where to mail it, all that by
Going
when,
to
and
him
then
now.
who reviews it?
The committee.
The committee,
And it'll be blind review.
and then report to the board. So how's that fall in relation to the next board meeting? That
We'd
one?
probably be pretty close. We'd be a little
Close to the.
now. We'd probably be pretty close to the March board
March
meeting.
board.
General
The
board.
19th
Yeah.
is that meeting, the
So we might have a
19th.
response.
What's that?
March 19th is.
Yeah, it'll be close.
Yeah.
15th.
Yeah, time it around there.
Yeah, we'll know.
Okay.
Time for.
So
the
then
board
you can
meeting.
give a report that day of what's in, what's not.
Perfect.
Do we want to reach out again to like the business review and give them a heads up? We got a nice article out of it the last time, got a little.
I think we reserve that for what we get in.
Okay.
you know, if and when we choose and we hit the home run with that.
Okay.
Because I think 2 in a row, right, we've already.
Well, and that's why I bring it up.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. All right.
So to Ontario's point, that appraisal, he needed a couple of more pieces that I finally was able to get to him. Joe Graves and I were back and forth. I couldn't get access to his Google Drive that he kept sending me. So we were actually on the phone yesterday working on that. He needed environmentals, but needless to say, he has everything he needs. We should have that by next week. And I'll polish that RFI as well. I believe the intent there is same thing, right? Commercial.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I did
I mean,
have a meeting with a local baker. That's a local bakery. He was very interested in it, likes it.
Awesome.
Doesn't understand the RFP process that much, but
Okay.
he has a shared space. He has a storefront in Watervliet, has a shared space in Rotterdam. So Kevin Catalano will be happy to hear that. We'll take some from Schenectady County, but the shared space is about 17,000 square feet. The other guy is retail dough maker. He distributes to all the local chains.
That's awesome.
Dough. So they like the idea of conceptually keeping the 2 buildings that are on site, refurbing them.
Awesome.
Bringing them back to life, putting a retail location in front of the metal building, using the metal building and that area in the back as well. They'll probably build up with potentially another metal structure for their
Perfect.
commercial.
Awesome.
business.
so now, 2 different things. We're doing a real estate an appraisal on that and an RFP on that.
Correct. So the appraisal's almost in, and I'm going to polish up the RFP and get it to Kate for edits as well.
Excellent.
Great.
The bagel people, nothing?
No, they didn't come through. It's too bad.
No.
They were exciting, but
Well, things happen for a reason.
yeah, that's right. They were good people too. So
Okay.
they know their limits.
Yeah. That's good. Good news.
We all good on that?
Yeah.
The next item is regarding 339 Saratoga Street. I received a call from City Hall last week. There is a request in to the building department for a National Grid permit to run a single power line to the building to power it up. Kate and I chatted about it, and it has been our opinion, whether Kate's going to talk a little bit about this, but as far as the permit at this point, we've asked that nothing be issued. But if you want to take the rest of it.
So I pulled out the file going back to 2016, and when Mike Jacobson was here. And I remember distinctly that he had, once they acquired this site, he had asked me to reach out to Mr. Vacchiarelli and see, and to get him to come in, because Mike was trying to get to talk to him.
Sure.
And he just was ignoring it. So we sent him a letter, he ignored that. Pulled out the deed from Canal Corp and the state to this. And there's definitely some potential title issues with it. As you know, it's weird. He owns the building, but we own the land. And Canal Corp had a lease with him previously, and the previous owner, I think. And one of the reasons Mike Jacobson wanted to talk to him is he wanted to enter into a new lease, at least temporarily, until we figured out what he was going to do with it. In the deed, it pretty much says the Canal Corp has a lot of language in here, you know, contaminated, could be subject to rights of the city Cohoes and Mohawk paper. There must be some sort of right of way or something.
There is underground.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it looks like, and little research I did online with the deeds, he flipped it, Vacchiarelli flipped it to, it looks like an LLC that he might own, but the deed isn't even correct to that. And what concerned me a little bit is he should have just flipped his tax ID building to the LLC, but it looks like he just transferred the whole thing. So a lot of issues with the land. I certainly could, I suppose bring an action, but I'm wondering if there isn't, like, you really don't want this, I guess is what I'm saying. And I had talked to Steve Napier too, to just kind of get a feeling because of the whole JUNCTA piece and what he, if this was something, and he said, no, not really, this one isn't that big of an interest. So, I think your options are, and these are the same that Mike Jacobson was looking at, does Vacchiarelli get the land? Do we get the building? Just try to work something out where either he takes it all and it's off your plate, or, we take the building as well, or he's got to pay rent while he's there. And I think with the permit pending, it might be, call him in and talk to him about it.
And I apologize, we should mention, this whole thing started because he had posted an ad on Craigslist to rent the place.
Right.
Ooh.
So he's going to get rental income.
Sorry, I left that little nugget out.
When you're not getting rental income, right?
That'd be a big no-no, yeah.
Right, so, you certainly,
Okay, if we owned an asset, say like a big truck, could we go park it on that land right across his front door? Prevent him from going in?
We have a boat.
The IDA owned boat, that's right.
Sold the boat
We
down
could,
there.
right? Yeah. We could just park the boat right in front of his door.
That's pretty good, I didn't think of
So,
that.
I think the bottom line is, if the guy's gonna be charging rent and you're not getting rent, like at the very baseline, if you're gonna hold on to the property, we could go into court if he's not gonna cooperate with that. I wanna say, and it's been so long, we looked at this like an appraisal of what a potential lease might look like. This was going way back. And we were only asking, I think it was $1,000.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
It wasn't much at all. And I think at that point, Mike was even willing to just buy it, like take it, and
Well, if
there was
there's
just
no-
no response.
If there's no
So-
future development potential there for us,
What do we want it?
cut it loose. Have them make us an offer, right? I mean, it's
Down
more,
there and buy it from you.
Two options, right? $1,000 a month,
Buy the
or
land.
let's, give us X.
Yes, let him buy the land, have all the headaches.
how many square feet or whatever are we talking, do you know?
It's
not
a
big.
Yeah,
decent
it's a
sized
brick
parcel.
building
I
that's
wanna
out
say.
there. It's been there
There's
for a long
there's a
time.
map.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's in here. But, yeah.
We estimate he owes us 10 years of $10,000 a year,
That's what we think.
or
12,000.
12,000 a year, or he can start renting it or buy it, but he's got to pick one of the above.
And if you don't, I mean, what?
An option for us to, get everything that's arrears.
This
A
is
little
my
bit more pressure.
bifocal contacts don't work, but this is the map.
Oh,
It's too little, I can't see this is JUNCTA.
It's the one in the front, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
print's
Yeah.
big enough for me.
It used to be a flower shop, Ralph, remember?
Yeah.
No, that was down further.
Was it that?
I mean,
That's,
so
there
it
used to be a
seems-
nightclub before that. There was a
Yeah.
bar there, there was a
Oh,
bar
yeah.
there, I remember that.
It was a fun bar, actually. for a
Yeah, I
while.
remember that, it wasn't bad.
So we
This
might
is
tell him,
If you were coming out of the old car wash,
Yeah,
Back in business.
right there,
Right.
where you come
Yeah.
out.
so we might tell him, we won't go after the back if he does something now. Either rents it or buys it, then we'll call it a day. But if he's not going to agree to that, then we're going to be looking for,
I remember he wouldn't even come in or talk to anybody.
Yeah, and you know what? We're spending too much time on this.
Yeah.
We need to, right, because we don't want to, pay Kate anymore on this. So let's come up with a solution.
Well, my great grandpappy used to say, when an attorney's telling you they don't want to bill you for a case, you probably don't want to follow through on the case.
Right?
You
So
know,
I'm
the
moving the
only,
motion.
the only real issue is, you can't just deed it to them.
No.
No,
That's the.
And I don't think we intend to do that.
Nope, but we'd have to get
But,
something.
I think, and COVID, there's a wrinkle here, and when I was trying to remember and go back over this, so We probably spent a year trying to get
I
him,
remember it.
and then Mike got sick.
Right.
Yep.
And so it was tough. And then COVID, right?
Yeah.
And he died, and then COVID,
Yep.
and then the administration change and the whole. So where I was going with this is, I don't know how much luck you would really have in court trying to get rent going back that far. But, you know, at some point, if that's the only thing that's gonna bring him to the table, then I think you file an action in city court, or actually probably more money.
Yeah, Supreme.
So probably Supreme or County Court, get him to the table and be like, listen, yeah.
Well, back then, were any letters sent to him telling him how much we were gonna charge him rent or?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was-
definitely, it was
So-
definitely done.
So we could go back to that and say, you were put on notice in 2015, it's X dollars.
Right, but you didn't.
We
assert
didn't
that. I
follow
mean,
through with it.
technically, you know, it's called unjust enrichment. You got the benefit of being there, you know, you definitely have a cause of action. You know, so I'd be comfortable enough bringing it into court, but it's just a matter of, you know, one, are you gonna be able to collect it? Two,
This guy works off the books.
You know, so does he have the
Cash
assets to
business.
that, if we win the claim, does he have, we don't know.
but if you get a
can't blood from
judgment,
the
it's a
stone.
lien against all his property.
Right.
And then he forecloses the judgment.
I know.
But you're definitely telling Code not to issue this permit, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've already told him.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
because
I mean,
they like to issue permits for
No.
National Grid on a whim.
No, Sharon reached out to me.
Yeah, Sharon, well, but I'm talking down the hall.
so,
I
you
guess
Well,
know.
I wrote an email saying as chair of the
If
IDA, we
he's got
request that it not be
questions
issued.
on that and would like to come in.
And I'm the
then
vice
you
of council. I
I'll
think
follow
it's
through
Yeah.
too.
What if I knock on the door and just give him some options
Yeah,
to come see us?
yeah.
Well, what's a reasonable amount? Now, do we have to have? an
Yeah, but
appraisal
yeah,
to
no,
sell
that's
it?
no glory.
To sell it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to take
Right.
less
Yeah,
than fair market value, but
I don't know if you'll ever find
it's
him or will ever
land.
answer,
It's
but
not the improvement, it's not the building, he
Pick
owns
Mountain Laurel.
that. There's potential issues with it.
they do.
Wow, I'm gonna end this.
Just get rid of it.
So I mean, pick a number. I think we should tell them, either you buy it, lock, stock, and barrel for this, or you rent it. And I don't like the rental
We
idea
got any
because it's a
money in this? Are we
liability.
losing anything?
Yeah, right, now we're chasing money.
I
You're
don't
not
chase
chasing
money.
money, you didn't put any money.
You
in.
ain't gonna like,
We just.
$1,000 end the damn thing.
What's the number?
We can always go down, throw
A year
12.
worth?
Yeah.
20K, start at
Throw
20?
it 20. Throw it out there. We throw the first number, you know it's going down. And end this thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because it's more valuable to sell or rent if that's out of the way,
Right.
sure,
you know?
yeah.
Of course.
And he
Mike,
owns
what's
Then he
his
can get a
name?
permit.
Vaccarelli, I don't remember his first name.
Anthony.
Anthony?
Anthony, can you spell that last name?
V-A-C-E-R.
No, two C's.
A-R-I-E-L-L-I.
VACCA, okay.
I think it's V-E-C-A-R.
Vecchiarelli.
That document that says what it is.
I used to work with Vaccarelli.
From Waterloo?
Yeah, the name sounds
No,
familiar.
you're on Park Avenue.
Yeah.
See, you want to take a couple of dogs with you when you're knocking on the door?
Ed's always
You and-
looking
you
to
and
kill
Ralph.
time on a
You and
Tuesday.
Ralph.
Come on, Ralph. I got a black trench coat.
There was one day, who the hell was it? Shanahan, Scavo, and the mayor were all walking out onto a field. I forget what the but they all had a long black coat on. I was like, God, this is just
That's how
perfect.
you spell it.
She gives me a sheet with little print. Okay, you can go ahead and I'm good, Rob.
Okay.
Nice Irish guy, huh?
So we'll plan on you having an update by the,
Next meeting.
next meeting.
Yep.
All right, the next issue, we're gonna go back to Pete again on, and regarding the appraisal cost difference on the JUNCTA sites.
So I met with the appraiser at Ontario Street now probably about 3 weeks ago. And in our conversation, talking about his next visit, which was the JUNCTA site, I just wanted to review, you know, he had the right information. Lo and behold, he had the wrong site entirely. So he had priced it based on the site, which was actually kitty corner from the car wash. There's a vacant lot there.
Across the street?
Yeah, he had the wrong site. I don't know how it happened, wrong parcel ID. I set him straight. However, it's obviously 4 or 5 times the size of that little parcel and a little bit more groundwork. The price increased. I sent the email to Rod for approval. So there was a slight price increase on that, and just passing that on.
So now this is the JUNCTA property
That we need
That we
to
need.
settle up with
that
community builders.
they want us to buy. Have they given us?
And I owe Jesse a phone call. He wants an update.
Yeah, so he has already begun the process, but I just want.
What's the
I did
appraiser's name?
authorize.
What's the company's name? In case I get.
Halford,
What is it?
Halford.
Alfred? Okay. And I'll get an invoice, or Pete will get it and
Yeah.
forward it to me? All right,
Yes.
okay.
Any idea?
Okay.
Don't have a timeline on because he just finished Ontario Street, but I'll get a timeline on that from him.
He's good.
Yeah.
He is, he's really, yeah, they're great to deal with.
Finally, our next item is the audit review resolutions. I think we did send that around, and under Ken's audit, we did have 2 issues from last year that unfortunately we did discuss about putting a resolution together and never followed through. So we do need to get that resolved. It's a very simple, 2 very simple issues.
What is it? I'm sorry.
The appraisals.
I sent that over to you.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I'm gonna, for our board meeting, amend the acquisition policy that with regard to donations that the, shall provide the IDA with the fair market value of the property.
Simple.
Very simple.
Perfect.
And that's what we usually use for the audits anyways. This is a fair market value.
I can't remember, did they ask me to do an audit letter?
No, remember he said that he reviews all the bills and every deposit. He said that to you last year. He doesn't ask for you anymore because he does every
Okay,
invoice,
all
every,
right. I was just
I mean,
doing
he
a
has a
bunch the
stack
last
and.
couple days. and
Well, that's what
I-
happens
that-
when there's 30 invoices.
Right, when
for
there's
the
only
year.
30,
It's
he
pretty
looks
easy.
at them all, so that's why he said
Gotcha,
that,
okay,
remember?
okay.
So he looks at everything.
So he knows there's no litigation.
Correct.
Right,
So this was for next meeting, you said?
yes.
Yeah,
So.
and I'll
full board.
redline the policy and, send it to you.
Yes, and we'll get that out to the board
The other
prior.
thing I'm gonna do, Pete, is make up the binders of all your policies because, and maybe it won't start this month, maybe it's more like March. So you can start going, we'll do like 1 policy a month or something and just have everybody, like if there's any amendments. The other thing we really gotta look at is your application, for pilot benefits and sales tax. I talked to Joe Scott briefly because I had a little bit of a heart attack. I was doing Bethlehem's and it occurred to me that with you coming in, no one may have said to you, we have pilots out there. I know you know we have pilots out there, but usually there's an annual fee that goes along with pilots and we don't do that here. So I'm going to suggest going forward that we do.
Oh, we absolutely,
Very good.
absolutely.
That's the only way to get some money.
I
Yeah, we
will-
need money.
I
Yeah.
will, I know.
Yes,
Um,
you can't keep it Ford in your
Well, actually,
lifestyle here.
I brought that
Well,
up,
see, I pay for myself, you know, it's like,
I brought that up several months ago because I did identify in that it said $10,000 a year from residential pilots. Remember I brought that up about 4 months ago when we
I
were
do kinda
reading through all the
remember.
stuff from Joe Scott?
Yeah.
It is in there, $10,000 a year.
But you said
annual
residential
fee
or-
For these residential apartment buildings.
Apartment buildings.
You
all
want
right,
to check on it.
let's look, yeah, let me look at the project documents and see if I can find it, because you're right then.
Right? Yeah.
The only reason why I mention it is Al Michaels, who's the CFO, said to me, here's the annual fee invoices I'm sending out. And then I immediately thought of you, and I'm like, wait a minute. Because, you
We
know,
know Mike loves to send out
I
invoices.
do, send out invoice.
The happiest
So-
part of his day.
let's look at that.
Absolutely.
And then if we need to make changes to the application to support that, we did change our application fees and all of that. You know, we'll do that, but that's where your revenue, I mean, you don't always have a ton of applications,
Right.
but that's where the annual fee comes in.
Well, the
You're
one-
you're monitoring and you're managing the pilot.
Right.
So-
That was part of the state audit
So the
too.
one that Joe sent out 6 months ago or so that we looked at, it did have that in there. That's when I brought it up. So I wonder if that is in
45
the
Johnson.
pilot for Mosaic in Delaware and
I'll check.
Lexington and.
He said no.
Yeah, I
but-
remember him saying no to that. I remember you asking the question.
But, I'll just take a quick look.
Take a quick
just to-
look.
Terrific.
Because
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
emailed him today, and he said, no, not Cohoes.
All right, be nice.
So
So
that's a
we'll
win.
put on the agenda for the resolution to be.
Well, the only other thing about the audit I noticed,
I saw you said something about the property one. I don't even know where that is.
in the
One-
properties, I saw that it had 3 Renton Street properties listed,
Right.
but we
I
have,
haven't seen. the
but we have
ordinance, so-
5.
We didn't send it to you?
And Columbia Street, so there's.
Yeah, I don't know
only
if
3 of
that,
the 6.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we waiting, we got that late, that, other one, didn't
We
we?
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know if that's,
But you had the,
he knows that we got the
You had
18, the
the
18,000 one. The deed, I gave him, whatever you sent to me, I
Yeah.
gave it to him, so maybe he just forgot to add it. We can ask him when
Yeah.
he comes here on the,
I'll.
but you said something about 1 Columbia Street. I don't know where that
There's
is.
1 on Columbia.
Oh, I thought you said, I
5
thought that was
on-
the address. I said,
No,
oh,
no, we have 1 property on
You have
Columbia
23
Street
Columbia
and 5 on Remsen.
and 5 on
But there are
Remsen.
only
Yeah.
3
Right, I
properties.
saw
They
that.
had Ontario Street and 3 Remsen Street
Yeah.
properties, so I just wonder where the other.
Was
3 are.
Columbia a late?
It was
That was
in
only-
December. There was,
It was like December 29th.
yeah, it was something, I don't know if the deed's filed yet, I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes he waits for the deeds, I don't know, I can't,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
So I don't know.
That might
would
not have
make
been
sense.
filed.
I don't think it was,
So
You're,
maybe
you're
they-
required though, with the date on the deed.
Right.
When you file, it's just as to the,
Right.
world.
Because I went online and printed all the
Yeah.
news.
Yeah,
did.
Through their
so
portal.
I think it should be on
yeah,
for last year.
so we can just,
Yeah.
if we get him, I don't know if we had the deed at the audit, though, I don't remember.
Who has a deed?
I'll review
Well, the
it.
county
It's gotta
would have
be-
it.
County have it.
Right,
We don't have copies.
Just go to the county clerk's website and you can see if it's there.
Yeah, when I get glasses.
Oh, I certainly can do it for you if you want. Sorry. I know the feeling, trust me. I can't see.
I never not had my glasses. I ran out of.
yeah, so that's all, I mean, Ken will be here on the 20th, you want me to invite him for the
Yes.
20th, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. that'll be
Yeah,
the
let's
agenda.
add that to Ken Classroom review.
Have you heard anything back from 45 Johnson? After the conversations you had on the list?
No, I'm fairly comfortable. We won't be hearing from them again. I think they'll take other avenues as they detailed in their emails that they accidentally sent to me.
Well, they sent a closing, though, we got a closing on that.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, then.
He honestly
there
just
should be
wanted to
a check along
renegotiate
with
the
that
deal.
closing.
Oh, that's what he wanted to do, renegotiate?
Oh,
okay.
absolutely.
And there should be a check along.
Oh, we already got the check.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We already got the wires.
Cash,
Yeah.
you put it in already?
Already in.
Okay.
Clear.
That's what turned me off the
That
most.
came from Joe Scott's office, so I knew it was good.
No, that's what turned me off the most is in the business world, I never am comfortable with somebody who wants to start negotiating after the deal is done.
Yeah,
Right,
that's.
And that's
That
exactly.
was a red flag.
He started, the first thing was 3 days before the closing, they wanted to change the amount of FTEs on the pilot. And then after they closed, that's when everything else started.
So they have closed, they have paid, it's done.
It's done.
Yeah,
There's
but the
nothing
only
to
problem
talk
is the
about.
property looks like crap, as you know, Ralph.
Said Coda.
Well, he said he was gonna send the timesheet, because he said he's been working there for 2 years.
Yep.
There's nobody working there for the last,
Well,
Year and a
there's
half.
one working
one
the
guy.
street, right?
And
one
my
guy working the street.
Is he still there?
The drug guy, oh yeah.
Oh, the drug guy, yeah.
Drug guy.
Yeah, he walks by when I go there on Mondays. With Callie, I do see.
Why are you
him.
there on Mondays?
But Callie's got dance. I am
Dance
in
class.
charge of dance on Monday. You know,
That's a sight to see.
I just sit there in terror, so. when I
You
see
should
everybody
see him
running.
with the 3 kids.
Oh, she saw me in the
grocery
Oh,
store.
I know.
They run me.
He's like, eh.
Whatever you want. Just put it in the
That's
cart.
right.
Put it in the cart. That's it.
Yeah.
Put it in the cart.
Just be quiet.
Ralph,
Tell Mom and
the
Dad,
2
I say that all the
was my gift to you. So you can put out your lawn chair every morning and see who clocks in and then
Do
when.
not say he's never given you any.
That's right. And then when you want to come back and complain about that we'll listen to. So I purposely wouldn't even entertain that one for you. Okay, just a couple other,
You need me for anything else, Rod, or?
Nope.
No?
Right.
And
Good night,
we're gonna
Mike.
start the ABO report in a couple weeks, so I don't know if you got the letters out, did you? or-
Finally got my
Okay.
addresses from Joe Scott.
Yeah, I
last
figured he
week.
would have them.
Took a
oh,
while, yeah.
well, while you're here, I should announce at this point that Joe Scott has announced that.
I don't know, it's a public meeting, I don't know. Who
Thank you.
knows
Like
and
the
who
last day
doesn't
of the
know?
meeting.
Okay,
That's all.
talk
You were,
about this,
you were the only one who gave me a warning.
talk about this in the CAR.
All right, very good. Thanks.
Good night.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
I did want to let you guys know that I did reach out to Chuck Fantigas this morning, the owner of Hot Dog Charlie's, to let him know that should he decide to rebuild, that there are certain things that we can help him with, and that the county would also. He did get right back to me and tell me he is rebuilding.
Awesome.
And I said, well, when you get your stuff together down the road, we can sit down and chit chat, but, you know, hopefully, hey, it could be a great time for him, you know,
Yeah.
you could reinvent the whole thing and,
He really could, and it's a great
put a
site.
drive-through in and,
It's a great site, it's a great location, and he has the history to be able to outlast this.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the tax cert with Howard? The one we were gonna settle by a pilot or something, we were waiting on an application.
Brookfield.
Brookfield, I couldn't think of
We've
that.
never heard any more from
Oh.
Sure glad I didn't approve at that first meeting a year and a half ago, and then they wanted me to sign off that day.
Yeah, should ask Mikey.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's in their court. I mean, Joe, to the point, got a little exacerbated with them because they kept emailing him the same things over and over, and he had sent it to them. And finally, one email, he did point out that you've had everything for months, and I don't think I've ever seen another email.
That's good.
So,
If you're done with the serious business, I mentioned something to Pete, and I wondered if it's something we might be interested in. I feel like I'm reaching again, because
We
of
love when you
Probably
reach.
are.
things
Not
not,
because of my response in the email.
things not happening.
Ralph, I
But-
think we're similar.
I wondered if the IDA, if it's appropriate for us to do a public meeting to inform the public the kinds of things that we do, kind of a informational workshop. I'm thinking back to
Love
when
that.
there was the Chamber of Commerce and then Choose Cohoes, and they actually had monthly meetings, and once a year, they'd have the assemblyman, it used to be Ron, and then it became John, and they got to be so big, they moved it out to the Century House, but I wondered if it is something that IDA could do, to have a informational breakfast meeting, to invite people in to hear about the things we can do. I mean, and then as we discuss it, I realize it's the kind of thing the city should be doing on a regular basis. And I even called it our quarterly meetings where the public can come and provide their 25 cents worth. And so I assume that it's legal for us to do something like that.
Oh, yeah, I do it a lot.
I don't know
back
the
when
level
was-
of interest. It's the kind of thing I wish the city would do it on a monthly basis.
Well, I think that we could, so I attended a meeting Tuesday, and I just sent it out as an FYI for you guys.
No, I would have won if I didn't have.
It was Sean Higgins, the new council person, the second ward is putting it together. It was fairly well attended. There seemed to be a lot of enthusiasm. The gist of it was that they are not satisfied with what they're seeing out of City Hall, and that as the business owners of the Remsen Street area, whatever, we would start pooling money and doing marketing, doing something. We don't know what yet. Kate has already shot that down.
No,
So,
no,
just kidding.
I was just saying, well, there's some history to this too, because Ralph Sig and Mike Jacobson looked at this.
Yeah.
And I swear we put something together. They were looking at sort of that capitalize Albany.
Right, well, you could do a bid or something like that.
Yeah, but.
I don't think we're anywhere near that yet.
No, but
This
I
is
mean,
gonna
a
be
bid
simple
would be
at
hard,
first.
that's legislation, that's taxing, that's all of that. But they were looking at more of a nonprofit model.
Yeah.
Just to be able to take money in and spend it and get the tax benefit
Right.
of it.
I think at first, our first move is going to be bringing in somebody to market, to do some social media, some stuff that's not being done. I had suggested Pete Sun, who I've just signed a contract with, who's taking over my company's marketing. And I believe Owen Smith and I are going to spearhead that side of it and meet with him or whatever. So I think that's where we'll start, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I was optimistic because I kind of like the idea that we're just gonna handle it. We're done with this, you know?
Ravina Cohemans has their own, they call it the Ravina Cohemans Business Association.
Correct.
It's
And
a-
we,
It's a tentative thing, but they got a website and they do their thing.
and that's
they have
ultimately
their
what we're
meetings.
planning
You
on.
see, back in the day, the Chamber of Commerce, you know, there was a Cohoes contingency.
Yes.
And then, then the leadership of the chamber changed, and the interest in doing workshops and educational programs wasn't there anymore. And so, you know, the city was kind of left out of it. And then the fee structure got prohibitive. You know, the businesses in Cohoes were paying like $100 a year. Now all of a sudden it's $500 a year. And so, you know, the chamber aspect of the city sort of fell apart. Then Choose Cohoes, a volunteer group, kind of got together.
Correct.
But Ed was able to pull some money out of a National Grid grant or something like that, so that he could do some quarterly newsletters and do some promotions. So all of a sudden you had a forum where, you know, the businesses in the city could be listed and promoted and discounts and all that. So it seemed, you know, so, you know, I wondered if it isn't the kind of thing that we, the IDA, could do. But then, you know, that's where I'm kind of on the fence, because it's, to me, the LDC should be doing it.
Yeah,
The
that's not
city
our
should
job.
be doing it.
Yeah,
It's not a regular thing for us, but then I thought, well, maybe we could kick it off, and then
the informational piece, I think,
Yeah, that's very good.
right, I think that's huge, and we
Or
can
what
certainly
do we do?
participate in that. That's the part we want to hope that the LDC, the city's administration, piggybacks off of that and says, okay, no, right, we're gonna bring that a little further down. If not, then, you know, I think there is some volunteerism that's beginning to spearhead some activity.
Yeah, I do too. And I think, you know, part of the quick opinion, first blush at it was something's better than nothing. You know, at least we can get this going without spending ridiculous amounts of money and what have you. And then kind of see where it can go from there, see how many more we can get involved with it. Like I had said, you know, these meetings are great. I've seen them come and go over the years. Today's meeting's not the important one. It's the next meeting if you all come back. But there were some fairly loud and vocal people. Sean did a nice job. He kind of got it started and then kind of faded. And, you know, you get a room full of business people, collaboration starts, and they're not shy of speaking.
well, it's, you know, my business hat, not being on Remsen Street, to hear people on Remsen Street complaining is like, what the hell are they talking about? You know,
Well, and that was brought up a lot.
That's where everything is. Nothing's happening
Johnson
outside of
doesn't even
Remsen
exist.
Street. And again, apparently there's nothing that we, the IDA, can do. But, you know, as a business owner, and I see where the city goes around and replaces sidewalks here, there, and the other place, because they can. I was thinking, so what could they do for some of the small businesses? Well, if you're redoing a sidewalk on Remsen Street because it makes sense, well, how about a long-term business redo the sidewalk in front of their business? It's a public space, it's part of the city, and it would enhance that business, and it's not, you know, like the facade program. And again, a lot of this gets complicated because it's where the state is putting their money. You know, the facade program, you're willing to fix up the front of a building on Remsen Street. What about a business somewhere else? Why not?
Under the guise of the DRI, Steve was awarded $600,000
Ask about that.
it will be at his discretion. It will be a facade program, it will be flowers, it will be whatever. It's totally, it's gonna be up to him to decide the criteria and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean,
So in a lot of ways, the things you're bringing up should be covered initially under that $600,000.
and again, you know, not to get too deep into the woods, but it just seems to me that the grants should be fixing up the city, you know, infrastructure, sidewalks, roads, everything that makes the city better. is enhancing it for everyone.
That's a good
Not putting money in a business's pocket.
Because the business can come and go, but we need the
As we know.
infrastructure around it.
And that's what I occurred to me, well, why can't you
Remain
redo the
attractive.
sidewalk in front of the tugboat or Spenwood or someplace? Because it's the public, it's the streetscapes, but it also helps the business, it makes it look better. So why can't the facade programs and street improvements go beyond Remsen Street?
Well, I hope that they are going to be funded this year.
Again, that's not our,
Well, I can say for 2 to 3 years, I've been trying to get them, the LDC, to adopt my grant and facade program document that I wrote. And it's really designed for a pass-through like this.
Yeah.
It is still currently, I think, the downtown corridor, but I don't see why, based upon our discussions, that they wouldn't expand that. You know what I mean, to different spots.
Right.
I think it was just a limited pot of money before. It was only up to $5,000.
Correct.
You know, it was small. It was a real small program. So they're meeting next week. Yeah, so I'll see where we're at with that.
yeah, and I mean.
And expanding that is a stroke of a pen. I mean,
That's all it is, yeah.
And I mean, these meetings, those aren't big dollars. I mean, you know, to get something like that going, you know, and again, it requires the energy of the volunteers to keep it moving along. And then, you know, and then you think about, you know, what can they really do that's going to help the business? And the thing that always comes back to me is communication. I mean, you know, and pulling them together. And, you know, and I remember when we had those meetings, there were some people that had businesses in Troy and they came to Cohoes, and the comment I really liked was one of them said, you know what impresses me about Cohoes is you care about the other businesses, not just your own. He says, you know, over in Troy, they just care about their own.
Yeah.
He said, but in Cohoes, I come here and everybody is really interested in everybody else.
But think about the dynamic that creates that today, Rob. I think they rely on each other so much, that they have a need for each other. You know, Troy flourishes, it's booming, the traffic's great.
Yeah,
Most of those
there
good
was an
businesses.
absolutely brutal article that came out about 15 minutes before I walked in here about the state of downtown Troy because of David Bryce and the impending bankruptcy, and pretty much it's a mess.
Yeah.
And as
She's got her hands full.
as everything looks, the facade is very good, and Bryce is pretty blunt in this that,
Well, I
he's in a lot of
asked
trouble.
him, Steve said he was gonna send us his master's thesis. Because I asked, what are the metrics? I mean, how many people of what income level do you really need to support a downtown? And I've never seen any metrics of that.
No.
Steve said that was his master's thesis, so he was gonna share it, so maybe we'll find out.
Correct.
But, but, you know, but those are the things to me that is, make the city cleaner, safer, look better. Those are the things that are gonna go on.
Those are the
and on.
basics.
And that's, I think, where we need to, and again, LDC.
Well, we may have
maybe
a
come up with
collaboration
money.
idea coming up. So give us a few minutes. You need bios from everybody for the website, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so if we could, and maybe, would you send out an email tonight?
I will.
But if we could all, just a quick paragraph, who you are, leave out the bad stuff, the arrest.
You want to email a paragraph?
Paragraph, who you are.
Yeah.
You should probably throw some words in the paragraph. Yeah. Who are you? Why are you here?
Okay. I'll sit down with Fran with that one.
Yeah. And then kick in your favorite food,
Favorite color.
Okay.
Last item is an item that has just recently come up in the last couple days, and because of the situation, I am going to excuse myself from the room and turn it over to Pete, and he's going to discuss an idea with you. Okay?
Okay.
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 So do we need a motion or something like that?
We don't. No, it's just open discussion. We are struggling, well, on twofold. The CLDC is struggling as well as us with storage, right? Paper documents. In order for me to remain compliant per Kate, I need file cabinets. I need somewhere to store this stuff. City Hall doesn't have that affordability for us. We need an office space. And frankly, the shopping I've done to try to meet it, because, you know, obviously Rod has the capability there.
Yeah.
And he has the Zoom room. I don't know if all of you have been in it or any of you have been in it. He has really a lounge area, but then he has the office space, which is like 100 square feet. That will be utilized as a combined effort, hopefully with CLDC. We'll have our filing cabinets in there. It'll allow us to store everything. Then we get use of the Zoom room, which, by the way, I think we might all be in agreement, it would be a great place to have our meetings from now on.
I totally agree with you.
It's accessible to us, to please Kate, and really the process. The square footage is 100 plus the Zoom room. So I'm going to get a couple of prices for us locally on places on Remsen Street, maybe other areas within the city that can do that. And we'll learn. I think the cost was what, Kate, $250 a month, which would be shared with the CLDC?
Well, it would be, yeah, your cost is $250.
Okay, so it's $500 a month. So it would be $250 a month. Frankly, you know what the rents are. I'm sure I'm gonna have to be in the thousands.
So you gotta put something out there for anybody that wants this business.
I'm gonna go out and get some quotes.
All right, is it conflict with Rod if Rod gets it?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, that's the way we look at it.
Sure.
He'll
So
take a hit on this.
technically,
Public
Well,
appeal.
if Rod's not here. If Rod has the lowest price, then it's a no-brainer. So how do,
It's the public appeal that will judge him. This is on.
What,
so,
go ahead.
no. So what we do with that, I've had other chairs with other public authorities do something very similar. And it's smart to get some quotes, definitely. So what would happen is you would all vote to accept the lease. We would put in a resolution, I mean, Rod couldn't be a part of that,
Correct.
nothing. We would all put in the resolution that despite the fact, you know, that he's chair, this is well below fair market value. It's in the best interest of the IDA.
Okay.
And you should be fine. It's not an office really when Joe Scott and I looked at this a few months ago, there was some opinions around even a chair getting his own office for his IDA business, which was permissible too.
Mhm.
So the real conflict here, it does exist. He is the chair, but it is below fair market value. And, you know.
I don't have a problem with that. It's gonna get some attention, that's for sure. But as
Sure.
long as the numbers are the numbers, so.
Well, the thing is, too, the LDC, he doesn't really have a conflict there, right? So, you know, for the $250, what's that?
Yeah.
3,000 a year, if
Yeah.
I do my math correctly?
Okay.
You know,
I don't
I
have,
don't have a problem. It's
I don't have a
great.
problem with it, but I do wonder two things. What's going on with the visitor center? I
No.
mentioned it a while ago to Mr. Napier that the visitor center, and I don't know whatever came of the proposal, but we had the former Dean of Architecture lead a study on the use of the Cohoes Visitor Center. And it was a great program. He came up through a series of meetings, charrettes, the whole 9 yards, you know, top level architectural design and all that. Repurposed the Cohoes Visitor Center is not only historic, but as a center for learning what's going on in the city today. So your kiosks and all of your electronic stuff at the visitor center could be promoting the Cohoes businesses. So it would be a place that people would go, not only for historic Cohoes, but to learn what's going on today. Mike didn't like the idea. He came up with a different approach, and then it, I guess, fell apart.
well, he was gonna put a restaurant on the first floor there.
He wanted to put a
So,
restaurant
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So Mike wanted to put a restaurant there.
Mike.
Instead, Mike,
Oh, Jacobson? Oh, yeah, I was
So-
working with Yuri Kaufman.
Yeah, so he was gonna put a restaurant there, so the whole idea of repurposing. the
Well,
visitor
again,
center was great.
let's fight the battles that we can fight. I'm not sure that that's in our purview.
So the
But rest
LDC
assured-
hasn't talked about that at all?
Who?
LDC hasn't talked about the visitor center?
No.
Because I thought Steve wanted us, well, the LDC used to pay the receptionist.
Right.
Feeding was paid by the LDC, part-time,
Mhm.
part-time.
Right.
And again, I don't know where all that went, but it ended.
It did.
Well,
I'm gonna bring Rod back in.
Yeah, go ahead, do what you gotta do.
I'm
here.
gonna follow through with the quotes, get them to Kate, and then we can make it an agenda item,
Good.
okay? Ralph, rest assured, the movement has begun. There's a good volunteer movement that's starting to take note to all these things, and we're gonna be kicking it.
is that beyond the second ward thing that was going
yeah.
on?
Yeah.
Okay,
Really isn't only sitting up there.
okay.
All right, anything else we have to discuss?
Nope.
Good.
At this point, I'll call for a motion for adjournment.
So moved?
A second.
Thank you, and we will gather again. When is our?
I don't have my calendar.
I don't either.
February,
It is on the website, the new calendar, by the way, that you can see the full year extended. The 20th. It is the 20th.
okay,
We'll gather on the 20th.
awesome.
All right. I will, thank you all.
Okay, enjoy your skiing tomorrow.